Hello, everyone. My name is Roxy Barboza, NCC's Program Director, and today we have National Telecommunications and Information Administration's Evan Feinman, who is the Program Director for the Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Program for Fireside Chat. Previously, Feinman was Chief Broadband Advisor to Governor Northam, and in that role, developed and funded projects that put the state on track to be the first large state with a universal broadband infrastructure. He also served as Executive Director of a State Economic Development Agency and as Deputy Secretary of Natural Resources for the Commonwealth. Thank you for joining us, Evan. To begin this, Perfect. To begin this fireside chat, let's start off with you providing our membership an overview of the Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Program for broadband infrastructure and the benefits.
Sure. Yeah. So this is a really exciting moment in the nation's broadband story and in really the broader history of American infrastructure. We right now, as a result of the bipartisan infrastructure law, are going to be able to get internet for all Americans. That is the umbrella under which all of our programs reside. And we're really excited about this opportunity. This is going to live alongside the Transcontinental Railroad and rural electrification and rural telephone, getting water and sewer to everybody, and the interstate highway system as, one of these moments in which we made a significant investment in ourselves that will pay dividends for generations. The bipartisan infrastructure law set aside $65 billion for high-speed internet access. A set of that went to FCC to support the Affordable Connectivity Plan, which is a fantastic program helping low-income Americans pay for their access to the internet. But the bulk of the funds went to the National Telecommunications Information Agency, which is not an agency I think a lot of people are very familiar with. It was not an agency I was super familiar with before I started talking to them about taking this job. In essence, there are four programs under the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, or the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, that NTIA is administering. One, couple billion more dollars went into the Tribal Connectivity Broadband Program. That's an excellent program that has already been running for a couple of years, supporting tribal communities across the country in getting online. Two, the Middle Mile Broadband Connectivity Program. That Middle Mile program is a competitive program. They've already taken in a boatload of applications, and they're going to be making awards as soon as they can move through those highly technical documents and get that out there. Third is the Digital Equity Act programming, and that's billions of dollars to support communities in making meaningful use of their connectivity that they already have, as well as support digital literacy, device provision, subsidy, connected ag, connected entrepreneurship, and a wide variety of other multi-language type programming that will support all Americans, again, making meaningful use of that infrastructure. And then the largest program at NTIA, $42.5 billion, is the Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Program. And so that's the program I'm headed up. It is a really different approach from the way the federal government has taken on broadband funding in the past. First, and I would argue most importantly, this model is different. This is not people sitting in DC getting into agreements with internet service providers to build stuff in communities. Instead, this is a state-led effort with a tremendous wraparound amount of federal support so that states and communities can get into partnership with each other and then with internet service providers to ensure that the infrastructure that we're built is affordable, reliable, and universal. So we're going to make sure that every single American has access to an affordable and reliable high-speed internet connection. We're going to do that by supporting the states in building their own broadband office capacity so that they can then accept funds from the federal government, billions and billions of dollars, more than $40 billion. We will then, in partnership with the states and localities, as well as tribal governments and other community leaders, make sure that we haven't left anything off the map, that we know every single place that doesn't have service or doesn't have good enough service. And the states will then generate rules that'll happen out in public with our support and with the support of big stakeholder communities in each state that they will use to determine where we need to build infrastructure, and what infrastructure is going to be built, which is to say the scoring system for taking in subgrants. States will then make subgrants to, from the money we give to them, to different organizations to build broadband, first to ensure that every single unserved location is served. That means anybody who's below 25 megabits per second download and 3 megabits per second upload. Second, and this is in order of priority, not in time, to make sure that everybody who is underserved, anybody who's between 25.3 and 100 megabits per second download and 20 megabits per second upload, has an upgrade to the network that they exist, or a new network is built to allow them to get online. Third, we want to make sure that community anchor institutions have at least a gigabit symmetrical connection, because obviously they're really critical components of our various communities. And then fourth, any money that a state has after its infrastructure mission is completed as a result of its allocation of BEAD funds, that can be used to further build out the Digital Equity Act work that the states will already have engaged in with their Digital Equity Act funding. And so what we anticipate is, at the conclusion of this program, truly every single American having access to the internet, as well as many, many, many billions of dollars, far in excess of what's ever been spent in the sector before, being spent into highly accountable, highly successful, with measurable metric-based success, digital equity programming, so that Americans have the infrastructure they need, they can afford connection to that infrastructure, and they have the skills, devices, and other opportunities so that they can make meaningful use of those connections. Now, obviously, there's a lot more detail under the hood, but that's kind of a 100,000-foot look at what we're doing.
So let's go to the second question. What types of broadband infrastructure projects are covered through this program?
Sure. It is a technology neutral program with a couple of caveats underneath that. One, you absolutely have to get to, at a minimum, that 100 megabits per second download and 20 megabits per second upload level. Two, where, other things being equal, a state is choosing between a fiber project and a non-fiber project, we ask that states choose the fiber project. We know that fiber is very scalable. A fiber to the premises solution already today can scale to many, many, many multiples of what even relatively high use residential and business users are requiring from their network connectivity. And we want to make sure that these investments serve the American people for decades to come, and that they're not eclipsed by other technology. And so, in addition to fiber to the home, we'll also wind up funding a fairly large amount of fixed wireless provision of service, and then a moderate to small amount of satellite provision of service. In between those spaces, there are also going to be some significant use of hybrid fiber coax networks, leveraging networks that already exist out there and that are already providing high quality service.
No, sounds good. And so how does the funding process look like for these projects if communities want to take part of this?
Sure. Well, so we should be clear that first, the only people who can get a grant from NTIA are state and territory governments, period. No ISP, no community will be applying to us for grants. Rather, what internet service providers and communities should be doing is engaging with their state broadband office as that state broadband office generates these rules. Because we know we're asking a lot of state governments, we have increased our staff. We are staffing up all across the country. We've got federal program officers in nearly every state, and every single state has or will soon have. Turns out it's sometimes a little challenging to hire into the federal government, I've discovered in the past year. Has or soon will have staff from our team. And so, communities should reach out to their state broadband office first. That's very important, as that broadband office develops the rules for subgrantee selection. Those subgrantees are the ones who are actually going to build this stuff. And to our staff, so they can make sure they're clued into everything that's going on. Those rules that the state offices are going to put together with our help are the substance of their application to NTIA. So they're going to say, here's how we want to pick who's going to build what where. And we're going to put out a lot of guidance. We already have put out some about how they're going to do that. And then that will also, by the way, not happen in the dark. It's not going to happen in a vacuum. This program contemplates really deep, robust, ongoing collaboration between states and local and tribal governments, as well as leaders of other communities, including marginalized communities. In particular, I want to emphasize that ongoing and robust collaboration, that is an extremely high bar for stakeholder engagement. If a state does the greatest notice and comment period that has ever been done in the history of humankind, that is an F minus, $0. That state goes back to the drawing board and starts again. Ongoing, consistent collaboration. And so what that means is that every single local government has a seat at the table, must have a seat at the table. Further, every single local government and tribal government has by right within our program the opportunity to bring their own projects forward to be scored. Now, that doesn't mean that they've got an advantage. Each project has to stand on its own based on the scoring rubric that the state puts up and that we agree to at NTIA. But every community should be thinking about who they want to work with and how they want to make sure that all their citizens are going to get covered. The other thing that communities should know is we are going to be heavily reliant on local leaders to act as one of, not the only, but one of our really important verification methods to ensure that we're reaching universal coverage. I anticipate our staff going to public meetings in nearly every county in the United States with a blow up of a map and saying, y'all, here's what we're building. Is this gonna get the job done for you? And we look forward to getting that feedback, because it's really critically important that we trust the folks who are the closest to the ground, leaders within communities, to tell us whether what we're doing is actually going to serve their needs, because that's really critically important. We literally can't do it without you.
No, I agree with you on that statement. And so where can our members find these guidances of how can they, connect with the state folks when wanting to take part of this important time, right, when it comes to BEAD funding?
Yeah, so a few different ways. First, what I would recommend folks do is go to internetforall.gov. There's a wide variety of different resources there that people can check out. Second, if you're curious about who your state broadband office or who your NTIA staff person is in your state, go ahead and send us an email at BEAD, B-E-A-D, at ntia.gov, and we'll shoot that out to you. We haven't posted the list yet because we haven't hired everybody yet, and so we don't want any states to feel left out. I promise you that we didn't hire people out of any preference other than when you find a talented person, you bring them on staff, and we had to hire folks for 50 states and 6 territories, so that just didn't happen all at exactly the same time.
Awesome. And then are there any challenges that one may stumble upon when wanting to?
Yeah, this is not going to be an effort that is without challenge. First, it's really hard to find every single home and business in anywhere, let alone the entire United States, states and territories. There are existing data sets that are really useful in figuring that out. One is the map that the FCC is putting out. There are 2 layers to that map, so folks should definitely take a look at what the FCC has already put out, which is their fabric. That is the map of every single home and business, every broadband serviceable location in the United States. That map is imperfect. FCC agrees with that. Their contractors agree with that. It's an incredibly hard thing to do, to find every single home and business that could take service and geolocate it. There's a second layer to that FCC map that's going to come out soon. That's the availability map. And that's okay, recognizing that these are the places that exist in the world. Here's the service that they already have. Both of those are going to be imperfect. There's going to be an opportunity for everybody to challenge the veracity of those maps. We hope and encourage folks to do that. A really good way to kind of do a gut check is look at your number of E911 locations in your city or county, and then check that against the number of fabric locations. Similarly, look at if you can get in contact with your power provider, easy if it's a municipal provider, but also not super hard if it's an electric cooperative or an investor-owned utility. Check how many meters they've got, right? Most places with a meter that are pulling electricity are a home or a business that could be a broadband serviceable location. Small differences in those data sets probably mean things are fine. Big differences in those data sets would suggest that things are not fine, right? And so we need to figure out how that goes. When the FCC maps are improved from their first draft, that is going to be the map by which we make allocation. That's going to be the way we pick how much of our big pot of money goes to each individual state and territory. And then after that, each state and territory will set up its own challenge process to really ground truth what those maps told us. So, those maps are a snapshot in time. They're a result of a process that we all agree is flawed. And so that second engagement space for local governments is going to be that state challenge process. So we want you to get engaged. There are going to be a lot of stakeholder engagement sessions, and we want folks to get engaged with how those programs are set up, and then after they're set up, how they're run. And we definitely need to hear from you. My team has to hear from you, and they'll be reaching out directly, but you should reach out to them as well. And similarly, the state broadband office will be reaching out. You're going to see a lot of folks talking about broadband at your city and counties meetings, of your city and county association meetings. You're going to see us at economic development meetings. You're going to see us at industry events. You're going to see us at trade association meetings, at chamber of commerce meetings, at healthcare, at education related meetings. Our staff is going to be all over the place, trying to pull together all of the different people who care about this process and get them engaged. Doing something like getting a high-speed internet connection to every single American home and business will ultimately require a whole of society effort. We've got a lot of money, and so we're in a pretty good place as regards resources, but what we need help on is that very granular level of targeting, as well as making sure that policy leaders at the state level hear from committed stakeholders like all of y'all about what you want to see happen in the state's implementation of these programs. There's a lot of room for states to express their own policy priorities and still get the job done. And those policy priority expressions should be informed by all the stakeholders, especially the folks who are watching today.
Maybe you can, go over this a little bit more, but what is NTIA's advice for communities that don't qualify for BEAD grants because federal or state data classifies them as served and ineligible for funding?
Sure. So, the first thing I would say is if you don't agree with that, well, two things. One, we're building infrastructure to get everybody online. So if there's already infrastructure in your community to get everybody online, you don't sweat it, right? Awesome. I'm really happy that you guys have strong connectivity. If you disagree with that statement, though, that premise, then you need to get engaged first with the FCC maps and then with the state challenge process to express that so that we can track it down. Every local leader doesn't have a veto, but every local leader absolutely has the opportunity to raise a red flag. And I promise you, we will run to ground every legitimate concern that gets raised for us. The second thing is there's going to be, as I said, off the bat, a tremendous amount of digital equity resources available as well. And so even if you've already got, a fiber to the home connection to every single home and business in your community, that doesn't mean that every member of your community can afford that connection. It doesn't mean that every member of your community has the devices and the literacy skills that they need to take full advantage of that. It doesn't mean that all of the different use cases, whether it's telehealth, teleeducation, connected agriculture, digital entrepreneurship, it doesn't mean that those are well funded or that there's good access to the resources that folks need to take advantage and make meaningful use of that infrastructure. And so you should also keep your eye on both the digital equity opportunities that will flow from the direct Digital Equity Act funding, as well as any Digital Equity Act funding that comes out under BEAD. Most states will have enough resources to complete their infrastructure challenge and also spend BEAD funds on digital equity. Some states are going to be stretched and we'll have to get creative and we'll get the job done, but will not be as well resourced within their BEAD allocation for digital equity. They'll still have their Digital Equity Act money.
Awesome. And as we're wrapping up, I do have two more questions, but
Sure.
What are some key dates that our membership should have in mind as they prepare to be engaged with states?
So those dates actually vary pretty significantly depending on what state you're in. So our program doesn't set fixed calendar dates for each step of the process. Rather, what it does is there's a clock that begins counting for each state to take the next step after they complete the prior step. And so, for example, right now we're in the process of reviewing planning applications from states. Once we issue that planning funding, right now it's only been issued to Louisiana, then that starts the clock ticking on their 5-year action plan. Similarly, when FCC puts out its maps and then they're improved sometime in the first half of next year, the Assistant Secretary Alan Davidson, who runs NTIA, will make allocation. He'll say, all right, states, here's how much money you have. That starts a second clock ticking for that state on when they're going to have to finish their initial proposal. That's the rule set by which they determine what gets built where and how their challenge process works. Then we'll agree to that rule set, and then they'll have a new ticking clock that'll say, all right, now you've built this machine, turn it on, run it, take in applications, score them, and put that back out. And that, what comes out of that process is essentially their final proposal. That's the thing where they say, here's exactly who we want to build what, where, and here's exactly how we want to fund digital equity within our state. And so, right now, what I would say is reach out to your state and see where they are in the process. That'll inform it. Once we have those, some of those factors are outside of our control, like, for example, when the FCC puts out their maps. But once we have all of those, once those clocks start ticking, we will list those due dates on our website. But I think folks should also not rely on that. I mean, there's a tremendous urgency to not rely on that because it won't be accurate. It will be, but those dates will be the last dates that states could submit things to us. But there's a tremendous amount of urgency about this, right? And so what I anticipate is that states will not use, or will mostly not use, all of the time available to them to take the next step in the program, because that further delays the amount of time before we can put shovels in the ground and start lighting up networks and getting folks online. And so the best indicator of how quickly you need to get engaged with your states is having a conversation with them and figuring out, and I say states, I mean states and territories, having a conversation with the state broadband office and figuring out exactly how aggressive they're planning to be. And that'll help you calibrate how urgent your engagement needs to be. But sooner is always better than later.
No, awesome. So yeah, you recommend for them just to contact their states respectively.
Yes. I do also want to say we're going to be setting up networks or coalitions within every single state and territory. Those will be informational clearinghouses. Those will also be places where we share policy, legislative, and regulatory concerns or opportunities. Those will be places where we'll share program updates and any other critical news or information for all of the different stakeholders of the program to pay attention to. And so once those networks are stood up, I strongly encourage local governments to join those meetings and ensure that any membership organizations that you're a part of are also joining those meetings and being a part of the community that is helping us get this job done.
No, that's amazing. And we'll make sure to rally that information, of course, to our members. And so my last question to you is, what's next for NTIA?
We've got a big job in front of us right now. So we've got, just shy of $50 billion worth of program to implement right in front of us. We've also got many billions of dollars of program that we're already running, right? That we didn't have to stand up, but that already existed. NTIA, we're going to get that job done in a really, really, really accountable, transparent, and expeditious way. We want to make sure that this happens as quickly as it possibly can for the American people, balancing the fact that the Congress isn't going to give us another $50 billion, right? So we have to get it right the first time, but we definitely feel the urgency to get folks online as quickly as we can. The agency does a lot of other things beyond merely building broadband infrastructure. And so, the digital equity work will live on. The NTIA also has a huge portion of its role, which is to be the chief telecommunications advisor to the White House. And so Assistant Secretary Davidson and a ton of the folks in our policy shop are working hard on supporting the president in all of the decisions that he and his team have to make as regards these issues. And NTIA also has a tremendous role in the management of the broadcast spectrum. And so, there are consistently decisions being made there. I know enough to be dangerous, but I would strongly encourage people with spectrum questions to reach out to my colleagues who have true expertise in spectrum-related questions.
Thank you, Evan. Again, thank you for speaking with me today. And those who are watching, thanks for attending. And any last words before we let our viewers go?
Only to say, listen, there have been a lot of attempts at closing the digital divide before that have not worked. This is not that. This is a different model. It is a different approach. It finally has the resources we need to be successful. And so what I would say is set aside your cynicism and join us in getting this job done. We really are going to do it. We need your help to make sure we do it as well and as quickly and as effectively and efficiently as we possibly can. Join us in this effort, and we will all be incredibly proud of the tremendous increase in economic activity, the tens of thousands of lives saved, the hundreds of thousands of children whose educational future will be better, and the myriad other opportunities to bring all Americans to the standard of living that most of us enjoy, that folks watching this digitally already do. We have a tremendous opportunity here to strike a blow for equity and to really do something remarkable, and join with us in getting it done.
Again, thank you so much, Evan. And we will make sure to rally all the information that Evan mentioned in a document and send it to all you all. But anyways, thank you again, Evan.
Thank you very much.